Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And we've got some Guns N' Roses news today. So Bumblefoot was doing an interview promoting Art of Anarchy, and he was actually on a podcast. And the topic of Guns N' Roses, of course, came up. And so he was being interviewed by Metal Wani on YouTube. So I've linked to the interview down below. And he was asked about focusing on his solo career after spending 8 years playing in Guns N' Roses. He said, "Well, how do you sum up such a big part of your life in one conversation?" He said it was great. There were ups, there were downs, just like anything in life. There were challenges, there was good stuff, there was fun times, there was difficult times, but in the end, the one thing that makes me smile when I think back on it was when I think of all the fans that are now friends and staying in touch with them and that connection we make and being part of something that affects so many people. That was really good. It was nice. He was also pressed about whether he would ever consider returning to Guns N' Roses or reuniting with Guns N' Roses for a show or for a tour, and he said, "I want to say no, but the truth is you never know what's going to happen, and let me put it this way, let me say it this way, if somebody was going to die and their last wish was that for that to happen and everybody put their grievances aside and all of that, yeah, then it would happen. If it was just like, hey Ron, do you want to tour? I don't think they would ask me, and if they did, I don't think I would do it, because just the way things ended for me, I was so burnt out and so in need of moving on that it was not healthy for me." He also said, "I was not happy. I feel like I was doing more harm than good at that point. I was miserable. I needed to get out. I needed to get back to creating and doing the things that made me feel alive my whole life. And I wasn't getting to do that. And it was too much of a challenge to try and schedule between the two. And I didn't want it to be that way, but it was. So I just reached the point that I needed to get out. And I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to regress as a human being to the person I left as very unhappy. So for that reason, not for musical reasons, not for anything like that, just for that. But also still with all that said, I left angry and bitter and frustrated and unresolved, and it didn't end in a nice way between us when I left. But even with all of that, it's very easy to hold a grudge against someone for eternity, but still in life you can never say never." So Bumblefoot joined Guns N' Roses in 2006, and of course he played on Chinese Democracy. And the same article also mentioned how, Bumblefoot never really officially announced his departure from Guns N' Roses, but a source confirmed that apparently he left Guns N' Roses after the band's second Las Vegas residency in 2014. And, Bumblefoot said he wanted to focus on his solo career after spending 8 years playing in Guns. So if you guys want to listen to the entire interview, it's down below. And, Bumblefoot's always been pretty outspoken member of the band. Like, I remember back when Guns was touring in Europe back in 2012, they were playing a lot of shows back then, and he actually went to Twitter to rant about it. So back in the summer of 2012, Guns were touring Europe. They had basically wrapped up their European tour. They played 2 shows in Spain, and they were supposed to go home, but however, a last-minute gig popped up. And according to Bumblefoot, the GNR road crew were working dangerously nonstop. So apparently it was a wedding for a billionaire in Saint-Tropez in France. And it also featured Canadian singer Bryan Adams as well. So Bumblefoot took to Twitter and he wrote, "Wow, diverted without info or gear or clothes or sleep to play a wedding in France. Yep, guess it's not one show left." And then he later added, "Crew working dangerously nonstop due to added show, not okay with that." And he wrote in brackets, "Hey, if anyone has a problem with my honesty, unfollow me." And then after the initial shock of having his plans derailed, Bumblefoot actually started to enjoy himself, as evidenced by his next set of tweets. He said, "My quote of the night, hey, Ed, Mrs. Bumblefoot, hear that dude playing Bryan Adams? It's Bryan Adams." And then he actually wrote, "That was actually fun as F, and everybody was so sweet." And DJ Ashba actually tweeted too. He said, "Just finished playing a private concert in Saint-Tropez, France. It was great having Izzy back on stage with us." So Izzy also made an appearance during the concert, but I've never seen any photos from the concert or any video from the concert. So let me know if you guys have seen any in the past. And then on a recent interview that Tommy Stinson did this year, promoting his solo project Bash and Pop, he was actually asked about Bumblefoot quitting. So the interviewer said, "I didn't find it anywhere near as odd as Bumblefoot's whole not talking about a thing that went on for a while in his interviews. That time had to have been an unusual situation for everyone in the band." Tommy said it was comical actually. I was laughing about it. I felt bad for Axel because I think he kind of got sideswiped by by some of the stuff that was going on. And Bumblefoot in a 2015 interview hinted at some of the Guns N' Roses hazing that went on. And so he was actually doing an interview with rock.about.com. And basically he was asked to comment on rumors that he encountered some less than friendly treatment when he joined GNR in 2006. And he said he had to be a little violent in order to assert his position, insisting that he doesn't want to get into the dirt and all the negative crap. He then proceeded to admit that he may never have really felt like part of the GNR family. He said, I think it was just more of a situation like a new family member was brought home without the other siblings' consent or to their surprise, laughed Bumblefoot. It was like, who the F is this guy? So it took a good minute for us to get to know each other. I don't know if we ever really got to know each other, to be honest. I feel like the environment I was in never gave me a chance to comfortably be myself and not feel guarded. But that's just me, and that's just the way the pieces fell, you know. Then Tommy Stinson also talked about how certain Guns N' Roses guitarists were a pain in the ass bandmates, and he didn't really reveal names, but he basically said that he wasn't the musical director of Guns N' Roses. He said what I became in the early stages of the new Guns N' Roses was I would try to and organize a bit. You've got 6 guys, Axel 2. I would just try to do our best to keep us all together on the same page. We had some different guitar players who were alternatively either good friends of mine or an absolute opposite of a friend and a pain in the ass who we dealt with and I had to deal with. I just did my best to try to make whatever situation that was in front of us work. I'll be honest with you, I did my best with all of that, and it got to the point where we were too many moving parts. I kind of asked myself out of a position I never really wanted anyways. In fun, I've been called the general and all that stuff, but no, I never wanted to be the musical director. I never wanted to be the point guy. But he said, but I was the point who was like, let's meet at 4, let's do this. Hey, why don't we work on the guitar and bass parts together and the drums together? Let's work this out. For the first part of me being in Guns N' Roses, I had a lot more experience in some ways than some of the newer guys had, so I did that. If I'd been a musical director, I would have asked for a whole lot more money. So if you guys want to read any of those articles, go check out the description box down below. That does it for today's Guns N' Roses news. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the contents of the video, and be sure to hit the subscribe button in order to stay up to date on all things related to Guns N' Roses and see some cool history and retrospectives of the band as well. And be sure to follow me on social media. The links to my Twitter and Facebook page are down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and have yourself a good day.